For anyone in the music industry that thinks anything is instant, it's not, yeah? You get a number one hit, you're not going to see that money for the next 2 years. We are one of the most underrated bands in the UK because we haven't sold our soul. The core and the essence and the ethos around Rudimental has always come from us.
Yo, let me see them heart shapes in the air. From the top to the bottom, put them up.
Made this tune, Feel the Love, but it's got us singing them. We can't sing. Yeah, we put that song back in the hard drive for about 2 years. We was in a pub one day and this guy singing behind us. And as soon as he stopped, we put up like that. We was like, remember that song that we made in the studio about 2 years ago, Feel the Love? We need to get him on it. So we got him down. That person was John Newman.
I can feel it.
Left work, in uni, my son had just been born, no money in the bank. How am I gonna pay rent in my flat? How am I gonna get food on the table? And then we got a break with Feel the Love. I was going through a really tough patch with Rudimental, not the boys, but everything that came with it. I was really, really isolating myself. I have to give the record dues because it saved my life.
Lockie, how are you doing, bro?
I'm good. Thank you for getting me down here.
Mate, thank you. Genuinely really appreciate it. It's been a while trying to get you here, but we're here now, finally.
It's 2.5 hours from Gaff, isn't it?
I'm excited. Before we start, for anyone that's watching this episode, you'll notice that I look like a plucked chicken with a swollen forehead, permanent markers on my forehead. It's because I had a hair transplant 2 days ago.
Oh, mate. You know what? You should have just come to me. I could have borrowed you some.
Mate, give me 6 months. What's your barnet look like? Look at that.
Haircut. There's a lot there.
6 months, I'm coming for you. I'm going to have the maddest locks. Long hair, mate. Or maybe a year. Bro, you've achieved quite a bit in your life. When I was looking up the thing, looking through the research last night, like 2013 Best Album MOBO Award, 2014 Brit Award single, 2019 Soccer Aid with Harry Redknapp, SAS Who Dares wins 2022. It's a mad variety there. I wanted to touch on all of that, but I think let's take it back first. Mm-hmm. You grew up in Hackney, yeah? Yeah. Big up Hackney. You grew up on Murder Mile, I believe?
Yeah, I grew up in Murder Mile, Lower Clapton.
Clapton Road, yeah.
In fact, my mum still lives on the road now.
No way!
To this day, yeah. It's a totally different looking place now. It's much more, well, it's gentrified, isn't it? Like house prices for 2-bedroom houses are going for like 1.5 million in some places. It's absolutely stupid. But when I was growing up, it wasn't the same place, and it was a tough place to grow up in, you know. But at the same time, I feel like it was the best place to grow up with because it's allowed me to go anywhere else in the world and adapt nicely. Growing up, especially on my street, and funny enough, the Rudimental boys lived on the same street as well.
What, all of you?
All of us.
No way.
Yeah, so Kezi lived Upper Clapton, so that was like literally a 10-minute walk. Pears lived on my street, like a stone throw away. And all our friends were in the same area, so I've probably got a handful of friends that I've grown up with up until this day, and I've known them since I was 5 years old. Wow. And we've just like mucked around on the streets of Hackney since then. And like I said, on our street, there was so many different types of people, walks of life. You know, there used to be a Yardie family, Jamaican family living across the road from me, and then there was an Irish family a couple roads down, and then there'll be us thinking that we're the new kids on the block and whatnot. So there were so many cultures and a diverse amount of people there that kind of just allowed you to go to America and be able to slot in nicely with the Asian crew or, you know, the Turkish crew or whoever it was. And it was like that all over the world. And I thank Hackney for installing that within me. But like I said, it was a tough place to grow up, man. I've seen and experienced some horrible things there, but I come out the other side well. And there was a couple of my friends, well, I say a few, that are sitting down at the minute. And we managed to go down the music route and the football route. To be honest, football was my main passion, my love before I even knew what love was. And and I always tell my son this, like, I was like, before I like fell in love with you or I fell in love with your mum, that was the one. I used to wake up every morning and I used to just think about football, go to sleep, think about football.
What, play on the street, on the pavement and that?
Play on the street, the pavement, in schools. I remember I used to, like, the beautiful thing about having a passion from very early, and I try and install this into my boy, is that it provides a discipline without knowing you're disciplined, if that makes sense. I remember I used to wake up like 2 hours before school just so that I could jump over the gates to play football with like a group of our mates. And I say to my son now, it's like, the thought of actually getting up 2 hours to go work is a nightmare. You know,
it doesn't feel like a chore, does it? When it's a passion.
Exactly, and that's what football provided me. It gave me that discipline to try and reach your goals as much as you can. You know, I was fortunate enough to play in the academy when I was younger. Obviously, didn't make it, but the trials and tribulations throughout football and constantly being told that you're not good enough gave me that thick skin and that perseverance and that not giving up attitude. And I feel like Hackney as well, if we go back to Hackney, was the place where everyone kind of told you weren't good enough, you know? And it might sound silly, but you'd have the competition of the streets and your mates and saying, you can't do that, you know? And then you'll have your school teachers basically saying, you're not going to amount to nothing. And that's where I came from. And that's, in my eyes, the reason why I'm here talking to you today. Do you know what I mean?
If we think, when we moved to England from Turkey,
right,
I was 2 years old and we moved to Hackney. We actually,
that's mad.
We actually lived on Murder Mile as well.
That's crazy.
And my dad, the reason I've ended up down in Bournemouth Seaside, we actually moved to Swanage. He very, very quickly realised, I think we left London when I was maybe 9 or 10, that actually that road we were living on was no better than Istanbul.
Yeah.
He used to go to me, at least in Istanbul, son, we speak the right language. We've got our family's network around us. He goes, we're stuck in this road. He goes, we're stuck on this road. The Turks and Kurds are killing each other. It's really mixed and he can't speak English. He was like, fuck this, we need to get out of it.
We're laughing.
I mean, I don't remember anything, but he tells me about it.
We're laughing now, but it's proper serious back then.
Did you ever get caught up in anything when you were young? On the road, anything that could have taken you down a different path?
100%. It came down to, if you wasn't doing football and you wasn't doing music, what was you doing with your time? You know, and you get lost sometimes as a kid because you feel like, one, you don't have a voice. Two, you're going through all the insecurities in the world, so you feel like you've got to prove yourself somehow, some way. And you do get bucked up in the wrong places. Like, I remember when I left primary school was some of my best years in school, like all the way up until college and even dabbled in university. Best years of school. And when I left primary school, I felt like I was lost more than ever. So in my first secondary school that I went to, my mum said, you're not going to school in Hackney. So I was like, all right, I get it. You know, there was Homerton Boys, which was a stone throw from my house, which was like, literally the worst school you could go to. You could go to Kingsland, Estonian, Cornwall Pole, and a couple others. And she said, you're not going to one single school in Hackney. So I was like, where am I going to go? So my best mate from primary school, he went to a school in Bethnal Green, and she said, look, that'll be your first choice. And I was like, bless, I'll go with him. Didn't get into that school. Ended up not getting into my second choice or my third choice. So I had no school for year 7. So I was like, Mum, this ain't working. We're going to have to go
back to
Hackney. She said, no, we're not doing it. So she said, I found a school and they've accepted you. I'm like, oh, really? She sent me to a school in Tottenham.
Oh, dear.
Bruce Grove. And it was a Jehovah's Witness school.
Wow.
And it was predominantly, like, I'll say 90% of the kids there were black, you know, and it was tough. And at the time that I went there was a Tottenham versus Hackney beef going on. And I was like, Mum, you've not sent me to any better school. You've sent me to the worst option. But she was like, that's what you got. So I used to have to take 2 buses. Year 7, so I must have been about 12, 13. 2 buses to get there, take me about 45 minutes. And every day I was fighting. every single day. And when they found out that I was from Hackney, the older boys, they would put it on me. And then my older boys, friends from Hackney would have to come down, and it was like just absolute carnage.
Real life top boy.
I don't want to say it. It's funny because I was listening to Gets' album like a couple of years back, and he mentioned that he went to the same school. It was called John Loughborough. And I said to him, "You went to Loughborough?" He's like, "Bro, I don't know why. I don't know why our parents sent us there." It was absolute carnage. And I spent maybe 6 months there. There was a point there where it was getting so serious that people were actually coming to my front door, kind of thing.
Really?
Yeah, and and there was a point where I said to Mom, "Look, I can't go there no more." And the actual nail in the coffin was I was in class, and me being cheeky as I was back then, a teacher came over, told me to stop talking. I said, "Whatever." It slapped me around my face.
You're joking?
I swear to God, slapped me around my face. So I've lost my temper. I've gone nuts. I've stood on the table. I've thrown things around and whatnot. And then they're like, "Oh shit, like we've unleashed the beast," kind of thing. And I've gone home and I've told my mum. My mum's come down and she's done like what I've done, 10 times worse.
Yeah.
And I've just never gone back. So I spent like 6 months at school then, and these times I was playing football. I was at Arsenal Academy as well. So I was just spending all my time playing football. And if I stayed at that school, I could see myself not being here today in this capacity. I'll probably be telling you a different story about what it looks like within a jail cell.
Yeah.
And then year 8,
if you made it alive.
If I made it alive. And I'm not trying to sound dramatic or, I'm definitely not that guy, But yeah.
Well, you're a product of your environment, right?
Exactly. Year 8, similar story. I went to another school, but instead of it being sort of like black versus black, it was Turkish versus black.
My lot.
I didn't say it.
My lot. How'd you get on with them fuckers?
Oh, it was tough. It was tough. It was a school in Finsbury Park, so I ended up going North London this time. I was saying North London, Finsbury Park. And mate, it was mad because the reviews of the school, they were hyping it up. It was the highest paid head teacher.
Yeah.
In like Europe, was taking over the school. It was going to have a big turnaround. It was a glass building. It looked lovely, but inside was broken, And I remember the BBC came over to interview the head teacher, and it just erupted. I don't know what happened, but again, I was in class. Guy come over into the class with a baseball bat, had beef with someone else, hit him round, and then he hit him, and then before you know it, on BBC News, there was Turkish on one side of the road and there was blacks on the other side of the road.
And this is year 8?
Year 8.
Young age, mate, to be exposed to all that.
It was just, it was nuts. And you got to think, how does a kid at that age interpret all this and take it on? Process it? Does he just get involved? And I always go back to football and music, Like, if I take it back even further...
Was that your escape then?
That was my escapism. That was my... If anything went wrong in my life, all right, I'm hitting a ball against a wall 1,000 times, Or I'm going to be in my bedroom, which we used to call the basement. I'm going to make some beats, or I'm going to DJ. So the way I got into music is the fact that it ran parallel to football. So I remember on my 12th birthday, my mum got me some decks, but I begged her throughout the whole year, like, "Mum, these are the decks I want, these are the decks I want."
We're talking vinyl, right?
We're talking vinyl, yeah. It's the turntables, yeah. And these turntables, I had no right to have them at the age of 12, and this is what I was begging my mum for. They were Techniques 1200s.
Big dog ones.
Yeah, the big boys.
Yeah.
They're the equivalent to Pioneer CDJs now.
Yeah.
In every radio station, every club up and down the country, they were the industry standard. And they must have cost, at the time, probably about $1,200, $1,500 or whatever it was.
A lot of money, really.
Including the mix-up. Exactly, a lot of money for a 12-year-old to be demanding that. So my birthday's on Christmas Day, Black Jesus.
What a mad day to have your birthday, by
what
the way.
a shit day to have your birthday.
Is it?
Right?
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
You get swollen up. That's
Yeah, you do. Like, you got no birthday. And I remember on Christmas Day, I was hoping that the decks would be there. And my mum said, look, I couldn't afford them. I couldn't get them.
Bless her.
So, like, on Christmas Day, from that point, I used to go on 5K runs. So on Christmas Day, when she told me that they weren't there in the morning, I said, fuck it, I'm not opening up any other present. I'm going on my run. She knew I would go on my run. Gone for my 5K run. Come back. I had a couple of tears on that run because you know when you want something so bad at that age. And I've come back and I've gone downstairs and my mum's literally laid all the decks out. She's managed to fork out $1,500 to get these decks. And I'm like, no freaking way. Wow, they're there. And I was just like, didn't know what to do. I had no records. I don't know. Like, I've asked for all these things. I've got no records. So I've got all my mum's vinyls from, it was upstairs, and I started scratching all the Anita Baker.
I was just going to say that.
Records. And she never lets me live it down to this day. But yeah, that's what I started on. I started on all like soul music and whatnot. And my story was very similar to Piers' story and Kezzy's story, you know. They went down a more instrumental route where they learned instruments. My mum made me learn every instrument, and I said no to each one. Although I play the keys really badly now, I can still, you know, get my way around the keyboard. But
You read music still?
oh, no chance.
Oh, yeah.
No chance. No chance. Not me. I'm a producer by heart.
The old one finger play.
No, I can play, but I just can't read music. I'm not like classically trained.
Yeah.
Piers and Kezzy are definitely much better at that than me. But yeah, they had a similar sort of rooting into their music where they grew up listening to older sounds, so like older heads on younger shoulders. And we came together, like we grew up since we was 5 years old. So anything they were into, I was into. Anything I was into, they were into. And we just started making music together from about 12. And we've been making music ever since then.
That's so cool.
You know what? So we're so lucky to have each other, you know. Sometimes I think we're not. But
No, but if you think about it, like, how many groups of mates do you change as you grow up, as you grow, as you change, as they change? And the fact that you've still got them boys from 5 years old, I think is so unique now.
No,
so
it's
special.
a proper bromance story, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I jump ahead to all the success we've had, it's probably the reason why we've managed to stick around for so long.
They're like brothers of yours.
Yeah.
Have you got any brothers and sisters?
I've got brothers and sisters, yeah. Sisters.
What about, just taking it back a little bit, growing up, what was your relationship like with parents, mum, dad, siblings? You talk about your mum a lot. I've not heard about your siblings, not heard about your dad.
My mum is by far probably my biggest inspiration. She's the reason why I got into music. She's the reason why I jump out of my comfort zone on so many occasions to see if I can achieve stuff. She's always installed that self-belief within myself, and she's been around from day dot. She was a single parent, and she raised 3 kids in the household, so myself and my 2 sisters. I was the middle child in the house. My dad had another son and quite a few other daughters. It's mad, I should know. But like, my immediate family is probably my brother from my dad's side and my 2 sisters. Sorry, my brother and my sister from my dad's side, and my 2 sisters from my mom. It sounds complicated, but it's not. But yeah, my dad wasn't really around. You know, my dad and my mom used to argue a lot, and I feel like I never really had a father when I was growing up, and I carried that chip on my shoulder for such a long time, and it was hard. Like, as a young black man growing up without a father role model, you're constantly seeking that father role model. Where is it? Like, how do I do this? How do I shave? How do I, deal with puberty? How do I deal with all the changes and all the insecurities that I have and all the answers that I don't know? And my mum tried her best, but she's still a woman at the end of the day. She wouldn't know how to be a father, although she did play both sides very well. And it's a hard one because you just want your dad around. You want a dad around, and he wasn't, and I remember going on SAS.
What you like with that now for your dad thing?
That's what I was
Because
saying.
it still sounds raw in your voice.
It is raw. It is tough.
I don't know what that feeling's like. That's why I'm curious.
It is tough because you got an empty feeling inside, yeah, and you want to plaster it over with something which you don't know. I'm 36. How is a grown 36-year-old still carrying this chip on his shoulder about his dad? And the worst thing is I struggle to speak to him about it. I feel like I should get him in a room and say, you did this, you did that. But whenever I'm in the room with him, I swallow up into this hole and I just pretend like, it's all okay.
Where do you think that comes from?
I don't know, man. Being a father is such a powerful thing.
Well, you're a dad now yourself.
Yeah, it's just like you can be like your child's world without even knowing it, And I always say to my boy, his name's Leonidas.
Great name.
I got 300. Luckily, his mum agreed. I always say to him, like, look, I'll always be here. Do you know what I mean? I'll always be here. If I'm touring on the other side of the world, I'll be a phone call away. And if you have any worries or any issues, there is no judgment here. That is the minimum requirement, I feel, of a parent, I know it's hard for some people working overseas and whatnot, this and the other, but you're still there. Be there, whether it's a broken relationship with the other half or whatnot. It's so powerful, you or your child knowing, oh, my dad's there. I'll just talk to my dad, And the conversations that I have with this 13-year-old, because I've been there and we've had those conversations since he was 8, or when he's been able to have those conversations, he's just so comfortable releasing his feelings or how he's feeling or expressing those feelings, which I think is so difficult for some kids.
Difficult and so important.
Yeah, exactly. And some adults, still. Look at me with my dad. Like, I can't express those feelings. I can't get them out. But because I've had that relationship with my son, he's able to talk to me about his day. He's able to talk to me about how he's feeling. I can't get the girlfriend thing going yet, which is, I don't know why. There's a little block there, but he's just doing his thing, innit?
Yeah.
But most things we converse about and we laugh about, and it feels like I'm taking a weight off his shoulders so he can move forward and, look at things more positively. And I think that's the problem I had with my dad, is the fact that he wasn't there. The guy lived down the road, but he wasn't there, And I knew that in the back of my head. So anything I was going through, like when I broke my foot through gang violence or whatever, and I broke my arm, like I had to rely on my sisters and my mum. That was the point where you need a man to come in and say, look, you're fucking up. Yeah. But don't worry, I'm here for you. And I didn't have that. I had football and I had music.
I mean, it's a powerful piece, that, because you don't have to physically be there to be there, right?
That's what I believe.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. Like that sort of empowerment you're giving your boy, and my father gave me. I was pretty fortunate. He'd go out and work in his kebab van all day and night. I'd get home from school, he was at work. He'd get home, I'd be asleep. I'd get up to go to school, he'd be asleep.
Yeah.
I'd get home, he's at work. But I knew he was there. Same thing what you're doing.
Yeah, I used to battle with that though. I battle with it less now. But when we first started touring and everything kicked off for us, I used to hate being away from home. Like I still do. I get homesick as soon as I get on a plane. I'm like, why am I doing this? What am I doing this for? And I used to think to myself, I'm letting my son down. I'm not there. But you are, because he knows that you're coming home, or do you know what I mean? He knows that if he does have an issue, he can get on the other side of the line and he can talk to you about it. And that's when the penny kind of dropped with me. I was just like, you know what? Don't be so hard on yourself, because you've got to think, there's people in the army, there's people that have jobs away, and like I remember I did one post online, it was years ago, and I said, Like, I hate parents that are away from their children all the time. And I just got an overwhelming response from military people. Well, we can't help it, we're trying to do. I was like, I didn't even look at it like that. Like, simply, I felt so dumb. Like, and that's when it clicked for me. I was like, you know what? There's people like this going all over the world, and I'm moaning about fucking playing on stage in front of millions of people. Yeah. And the penny dropped, and I was just like, you know what? I'm here.
It's a feeling, though, isn't it? As opposed to a physical presence.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely is a feeling.
I mean, would you say you're an emotional guy?
Oh, 100%. And then he cried on the way here.
I'm quite an emotional guy myself.
Oh, mate, right. I'm a Capricorn, innit? I'm the most sensitive guy you'll meet.
Really?
Yeah, definitely.
And do you think that's got anything to do with the upbringing? Like the fact that you've grown up with a mum and two sisters without a dad there. Do you think that's anything to do with that?
100%. You got to think, I lived in a household with all women. So as a boy, I isolated myself, Like I, at one point, only had 2 new records. And I mixed from one record, one vinyl, to the other vinyl, 6 hours a day for months until I could afford a new set of vinyls. And that wasn't just music. That would be football. Anything I did was in isolation.
Yeah.
Everything I did was by myself. And I know I'm in a group, but I always felt like I've helped lead the group to get to where we are. And because of that isolation, I kind of feel like I've had to talk to myself a lot. Check myself a lot and evaluate myself a lot. And this is from a proper early age. I'm talking like 12, 13. And I like to think that I know myself and know what's going to make me feel a certain way. I'll be honest, that's why I dread long drives. Like,
because you've got time to think.
I've got time to think. Like, it works. Like, driving up here, for example, it was 2.5 hours to get here. I drove all the way through. Had a full tank. Bloody petrol prices are killing me.
Mate. I was literally saying to the guys here, I said, I went to London on Wednesday for my hair. Yeah. Cost me 100 quid to get there and back. And mine's a diesel version of yours. And I thought, he's going to be double that.
Dire. But yeah, anyway, I digress.
Yeah. What do you think about on the drive?
The roller coaster of emotions getting here because I had so much time. So went through the first half hour, not even thinking about my thoughts, you're just like, right, cool, just mapping out this journey, whatever. And then started listening to D&B. Now, when I listen to drum and bass in the car, it's not even my favourite type of music, to be honest with you, but I do love listening to it. I'm like, hyped, yes, it's going to be the best podcast ever. I'm going to come in here, and I'll be like, 2023, what's up? Let's go. Yeah. And I was like, all right, cool. I went through that stage. And then I went through a Mac Miller stage. Now, Mac Miller's like one of my favourite artists, like gone too soon, R.I.P. But there's one song in particular where...
Which one?
The song is...
I'm just curious, because I like quite a few of his tracks.
Something Earth.
Okay.
So it's on the Swimming album. And the first 30 seconds of that fucks me. Because it puts me into that sort of, when I was younger, and I felt like I was on my own all the time. That isolation, that having to deal with my own mental thoughts, to the struggle of feeling like you're drowning in your own thoughts. And I was like, fuck's sake, how have I put this song on 20 minutes before I'm about to get here and I've got to do a podcast? This podcast is going to be like, oh, bro, I don't even know it. But I dread those 2.5 hours because I'm going to have to think. And during the D&B moment, it was like I had so many thoughts of, right, I'm going to do this for my clothing brand. I'm going to make this kind of song when I get in the studio with the boys. I'm feeling like motivated and geared up. I've got so many ideas are flowing, which is the positive side. And then you have the negative side where you start thinking, fuck, I've got to deal with my own thoughts and whatnot, which I'm still getting to grips with.
Music's so powerful, bro, isn't it?
It's massively
powerful. I go two ways. So I don't know if you're the same. So I can listen to some music that hype me up.
Yep.
Some of the genre, whatever genre it is, if it's lively. But sometimes I weirdly actually enjoy listening to the sad stuff.
Okay,
because
yeah.
I don't know how to describe it. I almost enjoy going through that journey a little bit, kind of feeling a bit sad and upset. I don't know how to describe it. It's like overwhelming, but in a good way, the other end.
Yeah, yeah.
You know when you're like flicking through TikTok and you've come across fucking Jordan Peterson
TikTok,
crying.
what's that?
Yeah. Jordan Peterson crying about something, and it's quite moving.
Yeah.
And it kind of, my missus is all like, why are you always listening to sad videos? I'm like, bro, as I said, babe, I don't feel that they're sad. I feel they're empowering.
Yeah.
But like in an emotional way.
Yeah.
Because I'm in touch with that. I feel there's a bit of power there.
And I think people underestimate it, you know. Like,
if you were running, and you were listening to music, there's certain songs you'll listen to that you'll be able to do your sprints.
Yep.
But do you not find there's certain songs that maybe the lyrics give you that strength? The sadness of it gives you the strength.
100%.
I get that with the music.
Yeah, no. There's one song called This Is How We Walk on the Moon. I did an interview on Capital the other day and they asked me what's your favourite song, and that is my favourite song. It's Jose Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Amazing song, you know, and it just takes me into a world where I feel like I could run forever. And I think people underestimate the power of music and how, you know, as a musician, how we use our skills to tap into those or express our emotions and get on stage, and hopefully that translates to you guys. And I think that's the beautiful thing about Rudimental. Everything comes from an organic place. I remember when we first blew, we kept saying that word. I started getting bored of it, but it's the truth. Organic place. Like, our music is made organically, and when our tune either hits its top peak, it's done organically. It's not forced, and that's because the people can feel that.
The energy from you guys. You headlined Soundfest 2021 for us.
Six, yeah.
So like the energy there was definitely authentic.
Yeah, definitely.
Like you could feel it, regardless whether you listen to like the music, listen to the genre, you know, all that kind of stuff. The energy is really important. I feel music.
It's mad because I think before we did that gig, we had a line of gigs before that took us pretty much around the world, and we came back to Bournemouth and we was exhausted.
I can imagine. And
it's often the way actually before shows, because we look like miserable fuckers. Everyone's like, just leave me alone. We've got to do this again. And it's no disrespect to like the people that come to see us. It's not that. It's just there's a lot that goes on for a performer before they actually get on stage, you know. There's a lot they've got to do. They just don't rock up to a show and do the show. They've either come from somewhere, they've got to do press, they've got to do, in some cases, long sound checks, they've got to deal with the team, especially in our case, we've got a team, politics, everything. So when you get on stage, for us, it has never gone the negative route where it can be like, just going through the motions. Yeah, we're here. It literally takes us to that new realm. As soon as that first tune's played, or the first tune that connects with you, it takes you over.
Yeah.
And then you're like, how was I even like that before? How was I like a miserable fucker before? Where was all that? And you start becoming this life of the party. And I'm nothing like what I'm like on stage, funny enough. It's weird because every time I get into a room with people that have only seen me on stage, they're like, it's gonna be fun having him here. And I get there and I'm like this. And they're like,
calm.
Whoa, I wasn't expecting that. And it's this, what do they call that? Alter ego?
Yeah, alter ego, yeah.
And I guess that's when I get on stage.
Well, you're a performer.
Yeah, exactly.
You're performing.
I guess alter ego might not be the right word, because I like, that is a part of me. I like doing that. But when I'm off stage, it's I'm pretty much a loner.
Do you like being on your own?
I love spending time on my own.
Same.
Love it.
Always rolling alone.
Oh, mate.
I've got people around me, don't get me wrong, and they're on the end of a phone call, and I'm blessed to have real good people around me. But if you generally ask about town, I'm solo, mate, most of the time. My own walking, I'm eating on my own.
Mate, you know, being part of Rudimental as well, because we're a faceless band, a lot of people are going to see this today and they'll be like, who's that guy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's a choice that we took from early on. We said that, you know what, we want the music to do the talking. We don't want to be in our music videos. Although we've done cameos, we're not the press guys, you know, although we're sexy as fuck. We don't want to be on reality TV and all that nonsense. Unless it's like something that's in line with something that I love doing. So that has helped. The fact that I can still go Tesco's and
get
people
away with it.
Get away with it. People do the double look, and then they're like, "Man, I don't know." And I love that. And it's not a case of me devaluing myself or devaluing my career. It's the fact that this fame game ain't for everyone. I remember Ed Sheeran telling us a story after we played football with him in LA. I think it was LA or America. One of the two. We were supporting him, and we played football before soundcheck. And a group of people started coming. That's Ed. And he was like, "Fuck, I can't even do this." And then we had something to eat, and then people were coming up to him like every 5 minutes. And he said, "Look, mate, after this tour, I'm going to pick a place in the world, look at all my record sales, and look where I've not done so well record sale wise, and
move there. That's
where I'm going for a little trip."
Genius.
And I thought, like, yeah, that's brilliant. But I thought to myself, fuck, imagine having to have that feeling, you know, like of not being able to just go do, I hate the word normal, but normal stuff without the headache of, you know, fans and whatnot and people invading your privacy. And I just said, I genuinely wouldn't want that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a funny piece that, because like you reach that fame, you reach that, you know, we're talking about Ed now, and you, at what cost though does all that success come? You lose your freedom. You can't go around. You can't walk down the street. So there isn't anything in life, I feel, that comes for free, is there? Even the winning doesn't come for free. It comes at a cost.
Yeah.
Whether that's, you know, for you to get successful, you have to leave your son loads and go on tour.
Yeah.
So that's a cost.
Yeah, of course.
People don't see that.
No, they don't.
And, you know, when you retire or when you've had enough and you've got a really comfortable financial setup and your kid has a lovely upbringing, that's amazing. But you still had that decade of cost to get there.
Definitely.
And 10 years of your life gone maybe to achieve to a certain thing.
100 million%.
Mate, it's quite rare. You're really into fitness, right?
Yep.
Into fitness. You're kind of into like advocate mental health and all that kind of stuff and 100%. Resilience. I've been in the industry for 15 years as well, from a nightclub promoter perspective, not from a musician, but it's quite rare to have a touring artist that when you're surrounded by drink, drugs, partying, to be so into kind of staying on the straight and narrows, being fit, being healthy. Where does that come from?
It was installed in me since I was probably first started kicking football, so I was 8. And all I ever wanted to do more than anything in the world was to be a professional footballer. And with that, I said to myself, you know what, you're going to have to be disciplined. So the first time I got drunk was when I was like 21.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was a crazy time because I didn't know what was going on. I ended up running down the street half naked. That's how bad it was. I was like, crazy. What have I been missing out on all this time?
Yeah.
So then you had that discipline. I've never taken a drug. Like,
which is incredible considering the scene you're in.
Yeah, exactly. And what's around me. Like, I don't know how to smoke.
Yeah.
Like, I could pretend.
I don't know how to smoke.
Pretend and like, do you know what I mean? I ain't got a clue. Don't get me wrong. Like, as a teenager, you go through it and you're like, let me try and do that. I tried it, didn't know what I was doing, threw it away. And it comes from that. And as I got older and as like, you know, the dream was fading out more, you feel like you got to work harder again, harder to get to there. And as you're working harder, you're actually pushing it further away. So all that discipline and all that came from that. And it was hard for me to change that. It was always inside of me. I always wanted to do something fitness. I always wanted to do something fitness related alongside music. Like Kezzy and Piers, they went to university to study music. I went to university to study sports science.
Mad.
Yeah, this is it. And it's mad because the story around that is, all right, didn't get my YTS when I was younger. So that was a youth training scheme. I don't know what the equivalent is now to sort of the academies, but that was the thing that you destined for. You wanted that. Once you got that, then it will be the next thing to get a pro contract. I didn't get that, so I immediately dropped out of sort of the higher tier academies because I was heartbroken. If I wasn't playing for Arsenal, I'm not really doing this.
How old are you now at this stage?
At this stage,
this happened? 15.
15. So then, I ended up playing semi-professional football up until sort of like Rudimental as well, which a lot of people
My
don't
boys
know.
still play it. A lot of my mates.
Yeah,
They've got full-time jobs and they like to still play that sort of like
I went through all
semi-pro.
of that. Yeah, so I ended up going to college, doing a sports scholarship through college, and then once college was done, I was like, am I going to go to university or am I just going to find a job? So I ended up finding a job. And
what job was that out of interest? What was your first job?
My first job was working in Marks and Spencer's. And I remember I wrote a tweet.
Do you do that bit? Checkout?
Everything.
Stacking shelves a lot?
Mostly in the back eating cookies and Victoria sponge cakes. But that was my first job, Marks and Spencer. And I remember I wrote a tweet about that and Calvin Harris was like, yeah, so did I.
Love it.
It was funny that my mum, my sisters actually worked there. I was
All
like,
of them.
am I destined to work in Marks and Spencer? But out of college, I became a teaching assistant.
Mm-hmm.
And the first job was to work with SEN kids. So that was kids with special educational needs. So you had anything from autism to Asperger's, all across the spectrum, to kids that couldn't speak, to kids that were violent within their needs or whatnot. And I did that for about 6 months, and I did it so well to the point where I got a promotion in a job where they said, look, we feel like you can take those skills and you can become a learning mentor. So I became a learning mentor, and then, that kind of spiraled because I was young at the time. So I kind of could relate to the kids. So that kind of shifted from SEN kids to kids with bad behavioural issues, anger management issues, and barriers to learning. And, I used to get them in my office at the time. I was like this 21-year-old who had an office.
I love that.
He used to wear a shirt and trousers to school, no degree, nothing. I was like the highest paid learning mentor in the borough as well.
Straight from Murder Mile.
Straight from Murder Mile. I used to talk to the kids on their level. It was like they felt like they had a voice, you know what I mean? Like there used to be kids in class tipping over tables and say, get Leon. I'm all right, Leon. So I walk in the class, calm it down, say, don't worry, teacher, I've got this. Get the kid out, and then we'll go.
You were the kid flipping the table 5 years ago.
Exactly. So I could relate. And it was so rewarding. And the beautiful thing about doing that, you could see the impact that you was having on kids immediately. Like I had 2 kids, and one of them, he's part of our circle now. He's a big grown man.
Really?
And he plays. Well, he went on to play for Leeds. I think he's playing. I don't want to get it wrong. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to get it wrong. But Don Polian is like a good friend of ours.
Yeah.
And he went on to be a professional footballer.
Wow.
And then we had another kid.
What, and you used to sort of mentor him?
I used to mentor him. Like another
That's
kid
sick.
called Michael Nagu went off to play for Liverpool.
That's sick.
Do you know what I mean? And that, those were the things that I wanted to do as a kid. And I managed to shift that on to the next gen. And that was amazing feeling. So
You still caught up on this football thing?
on football,
Yeah, not making it.
not at all.
Yeah?
Not at all, mate. I tried to play the other day, my knees hurt. Not at all. I said to my son, mate, I'm not a baller no more. I can't even, it hurts. But no, at that time, as a learning mentor, I was like, all right, cool. I've reached a threshold where this is the most amount of money that I could make here. I need something. So I went to university. I said, I'm going to become a PE teacher. So I'm going to go through the sports science route. And I remember saying, I'm actually going to leave the school because I'm just going to go full-time. I was going part-time at the beginning in universities, part-time uni, part-time work, and they were paying for it. So it was like they wanted me to stay that much. They sorted that out. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know what, I want to finish this off quicker, so I'm going to go full-time. But me doing that meant that I was going to be like financially stuffed.
Yeah.
So I did it anyway, and I quit my job, and I said, I'm going to go uni. I'm still making music with the boys, you know, like every other day in the studio. We're like, we've got a hit. This is going to be the big one. Yeah, nothing happens. So that was still going on. And then left work in uni. My son had just been born. So I had my son when we was about 23. No money in the bank. Literally down to like my last 100 quid. And I'm just like scratching my head. How am I going to pay rent in my flat? How am I gonna like get food on the table? This kid's here now. What am I gonna? I was like choking up inside. I'd literally go in my car and cry. Because I'm just like, shit, I don't know what to do. And my pride wouldn't let me go and ask anybody. It had to be me that I should be doing this. I should be providing for my new family and whatnot. And then we got a break with Feel the Love. Record label came in, signed that. That went to number 1. It sounds like an amazing story. You get an advance and then you get a tax on the advance, you get a management, and you're like, this is absolutely nothing, but it's going to tie me over. And in the music industry,
on the table.
Yeah, put food on the table, and it kind of gave me that relief. And for anyone in the music industry that thinks anything is instant, it's not, yeah? You get a number 1 hit, you're not going to see that money for the next 2 years, FYI.
Is that how it works?
That's how it works, yeah. So
They lock you in with an advance, a contract.
Yeah, exactly. You're not gonna see that money. So anyone that you see in chains or, like rolling in big cars, the day they got a number 1 is
It's not from
that. I'm just saying, it's the truth, it's reality.
Do you ever feel like you've sold your soul with music? I always wonder, like, whether it's a musician, a actor, actress, whoever, I feel like when you get so big that your name is bigger than you and someone owns the rights to your name, it must be quite tough. And you guys are in a band, so it's probably slightly different. But you imagine like Ed Sheeran, we spoke about him, so I'll go back to him. His name is now the brand. He probably don't even own the own rights to his name anymore. He's probably signed to a contract somewhere.
Mate, he's a smart guy, so
but in general, do you feel?
No is the answer to that question. Like, mate, it's so hard to penetrate our circle, and we've got the right people around us. So, like, even our manager, he went to the same school as us.
I'll rate that. You brought everyone up with you.
Yeah, exactly. And he's done his thing, and we've helped the way. Like, don't get me wrong, I want to fucking throttle him sometimes. But
we'll tag him in this.
Yeah, definitely do it. I'll tell him every other day. But that's the vibe we've got. So we've always had that trust factor within our circle. Like, the boys going in, yeah, we've made mistakes in terms of, like, I could have done that better, could have done this better. But I don't feel like we haven't. And I tell you why. We are one of the most underrated bands in the UK because we haven't sold our soul or let ourselves down like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, completely agree.
I agree. Everything we've done is
especially when I saw you perform at Soundfest. I'll be completely honest, because I listen to your guys' music all the time. It's always on the radio. It's like, it's popular music, right? It's on. When you performed at Soundfest, bearing in mind it was just meant to be a DJ set, but you guys brought it in quite, everything, and it went off. I remember saying to my marketing team after, I was like, they were fucking sick. I want to book them again. Like, we were looking at something the other day, and I messaged your agent about a full live band version of you guys. It was unbelievable.
No, it's nuts. And like I said, mate, that we've done everything we've wanted to do. And maybe 1 or 2 songs where we've said, don't know if we should be doing this. And luckily it's worked out, and it has been the right thing. I'm not saying that we've rolled it out and it's been perfect, but the core and the essence and the ethos around Rudimental has always come from us. And if it hasn't, that will be the reason why we might have gone quiet a couple years or a year here and there. It's because we're not conforming. You know.
Let me ask you a couple of questions. Where's the name Rudimental come from?
So Rudimental comes from Kezi in the band. So Kezi wanted to call himself Mr. Rudiments, if I believe.
Okay.
And that came from him leaving his, I think it was his Theory of Music book, which was called Rudiments, at home when he had piano lessons. So he's like, I'm going to call myself Mr. Rudiments. And we were like, that's a shit name, bro. Don't call yourself that. So then we took, why not Rudimental for the band? And then he was like, yeah, cool. Let's do that. Name. Yeah, and we stuck with that name, pretty sure since we were 16. So we was doing a lot of underground stuff. Another thing is, people think like we've, been around forever at this level. It's probably only been 10 years, but I'm 36, so you could imagine what we've been doing the 10 years
16
before.
to 26, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, they say that thing that it took me 10 years to be an overnight success.
Totally. 100%. It's bullshit. I want to be an overnight success in like a month. Can't be working like that.
That's what people think. Right, what about Locksmith? Where does that come from? Well, because Leon, first name, your surname, I found out this morning, there's no Lock in there, there's no Smith in there, bro.
No, not at all.
I feel done over. You used to what? You used to break into houses or something?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not far off, but not at all. So the second school I was talking to you about was probably worse than the first, but looked better than the first.
Yeah.
I was walking past the caretaker's office and I walked past a couple of times and he wasn't there. But there was like keys everywhere. So I was like, why has he left this door open for opportunists like myself to walk in and borrow a set of keys? So I walked in and I saw this bunch of keys. And
was it like on a big chain, like in the film? Like with it.
Let's say it was like that. Yeah. But there was quite a few keys set up on the wall, and on top of it was like master keys.
Okay.
So I was like, I'll have a bit of that. So I popped it off and walked out. So they stayed in my bag for a little while, and I don't think they realised. It must have been a spare set because they didn't realise they were gone. So then once I had those keys, I was like, you know what, I need to try these. So I tried to open up one locker. We had lockers in this school. This is how new this school was. They had lockers. Like, in schools in London, you didn't have lockers. It's like an American thing. So we had lockers. So open up one locker. Oh shit, it's open. Open up another locker. Oh shit, that's open. Every locker.
What, skeleton keys gets into
just everything. So I'm like, oh my God, let me try doors. Let me try rooms. So I open up rooms. I'm in rooms now. I'm in everywhere in the school. So then I told one of the olders, I said to him, like,
where's this going?
Look, I've got a set of keys to every room in this school. He said, nah. I said, yeah, I've got it. He said, all right, look, you're going to keep hold of that. I'm going to get you work, basically. I'm like, what? Work? So everything from stationery that anyone needed, there used to be these school ticket things that were in the stock room. So if you had a ticket, you basically get your lunch or whatever. So I was selling them for like half price, quarter price, and just make it, it's just like profit all over the gaff. And then the other one, I hate telling the story because my mum just cringes when she hears it. It's like there used to be like girlfriends and boyfriends, and like they used to be like, oh, let's have that room. I said, look, £2.50, the room's yours.
What a hustler.
Oh, for an hour or whatever. So, and one day I was walking down the corridor. One of the kids like shouted out, Locksmith. I was like, it's just over my head, and I was walking with my mate, and my mate was saying, that's you, bro. So I said, who's who? He said, Locksmith, you're the Locksmith. Everyone's calling you Locksmith now.
You can get it everywhere.
I can get in everywhere. So I was like, swear. And it just stuck ever since. So 13 years old, everyone was calling me Locksmith. And that's where the name come from.
That's a cool story.
It's a horrible story. I look back at it, I'm like, what was you thinking? But yeah.
Yeah, but a proper story. Like sometimes the nicknames come from nowhere.
Yeah.
There's a story behind that.
No, definitely. And the way that whole venture ended was we kind of just took it one step too far. It was summer holidays, and we was like, we're going to go back into school and we're going to have sort of like rave ups. They had a sick music department, so we'll get in the music department and we'll get like a group of people and we'll just rave it up and whatnot. So we've gone through the first front door and whatnot. The camera's everywhere. I don't know what we're playing at.
Yeah.
But we've had like balaclavas on. Yeah. Gone through the front door, gone through the second door, gone into the music room. We're like, yes, sick. All right, let's start texting everyone on our 3210s. Yeah, meet us at school. We've got to wait through. Da, 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 da. And then we're in there, and all we can hear is like this, like a proper like silent low frequency alarm. So like, and we look at all the sensors and they're just flashing like that, and we're like, shit, we gotta get out of here, the alarms have gone off. Running out, da, da, da. Our mate lived like across the road from the school. We was like, let's see if anyone turns up. Police, like teachers, all around there. It was like, oh shit. And then come back, try to use the key again.
Change the locks.
All locks changed.
So they've clocked it there.
Yeah.
Did you ever get in trouble for that?
Never.
They never.
Boss case.
We'll keep that. It's an unsolved crime. That we'll keep that off the podcast.
You don't know what school it is as well, because I went to so many.
What? Why drum and bass is a genre, bro, for the band?
I'll ask you that. Why? Why? Where's that come from?
Yeah.
You know what it is? We've made a drum and bass inspired track that hit the world by storm.
That was the first one that went
First
big.
track.
Is that why you've kind of just followed in that?
You guys decided this. Like,
Got
the
you.
public decided it. That's why I asked, like, why are we a drum bass act?
Yeah.
Listen to our albums, we're not a drum bass act. But it's just easier for people to put people in boxes so they can understand.
The perception is
the
that.
perception is, yeah. Like, the way that song came about was, again, I know I say the word organic, you probably hear it 100 times on this podcast, but it was so organic, it was unbelievable. We was in the studio. I remember I was telling you, like, we used to have these moments every week where we was like, we made a hit. Made this tune, Feel the Love, but it's got us singing on it. So we're singing on it. Like, we can't sing, you know? And we've got this, like, the skeleton of the track, and we're like, this song is going to be the next hit song. And we had this rundown studio in Tottenham that we used to use. And it was a proper shithole, but it was our shithole. And we trashed the place. Like, we was down in our boxers, jumping on chairs, like, yeah, this is we even put the video up on YouTube and whatnot. And we put that song back in the hard drive for about 2 years.
Wow.
It stayed in the hard drive. And then we was in a pub one day and we was hearing this guy sing behind us. And you got to remember, we've grown up with each other since 5 years old. We are in sync with most things, like the girls we like, the music we're listening to.
You're all on the same wavelength.
Yeah, apart from football teams. They were Man United, I was Arsenal. We was just so in sync. So when we heard this person singing, this guy singing behind us, we were all like this with our pints. Not one of us said a word to each other. And as soon as he stopped, we put our pint down. We was like, remember that song that we made in the studio about 2 years ago? Feel the Love. We need to get him on it. So we got him down. And we was like,
What, just some random in the pub?
Random in the pub, like, just singing with his guitar. So he was like, mate, I know this might sound weird, like, but we got the perfect song for you. We want to get you on this song. That person was John Newman.
Wow.
So then...
What, when he was up and coming still? Like, nobody in a pub?
No, literally not up and coming. Like, just... Like, nothing. He'd probably be like, yeah, I was up and coming. Like, that's the worst northern accent ever. Here's gonna do a better one. He probably will say he's up and coming, but we were all collectively nobody.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We were somebody to someone, but nobody in that music industry. And he ended up living with Piers straight after that, and we got him to sing the song, and then that went around record labels like wildfire. And that's how that came about. And we continued
Huge
in
track.
that vein.
Still.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I can't stand to hear it anymore because I've been hearing it for years.
I hear you.
Unless I'm on stage. When I'm on stage, it takes over me and it's blessed. But it's...
If it's on the radio, you turn it over.
Yeah, definitely. But I have to give the record dues because it saved my life. Definitely.
Bro, do you think your role as a musician or a performer in society, like, what do you think that role is in society? What do you think the messages you need to be giving the youngers coming through, the other people in music? Like, do you think you have an obligation to society as a musician, as someone with this platform?
100%. 100%. And I think for me to say no would be very ignorant of me, you know? Like, I think the first time I learned to mix, before I got my first pair of decks, Heartless Crew came into the school. And I always tell Funny this story. Mate, you might not remember, but you came into the school and you taught me, like, the essentials of how to mix, and I took that home and I OCD'd over it. So that impacted me to where I am today. No royalty shares for you there, Funny, but you had an impact. And it's not just that. It's the fact that I'm coming from the streets where you've constantly been told you're not good enough, yeah? Your kind ain't allowed around here, you know? And I'm a black man or a black boy at the time who struggled to be heard through the masses, whether it was through football or whether it was through music. I couldn't get a coffee in a record label office for love nor money. And then as soon as that record came out, it was like everyone was blowing hot air up our asses. And a lot of these kids are going through that now, and they're hitting barriers, they're hitting hurdles, and they're like so narrow in their own world where they feel like they haven't got options. But when they see someone like yourself, someone like me, they instantly feel like, you know what, that is doable, and fuck yes, it is doable. You know, it's achievable, 100 million %. And when I go into schools and I talk to these kids, and I see their eyes light up when they see someone like me. Sometimes, most of the times, I'm in tracksuit bottoms or I'm wearing shorts, whatever the weather, you know, shorts and a t-shirt, whatever it is. And like, what? And he just rolled up in a Rolls. What? We can do that. I was like, yeah, you can. And I feel like
the right way as well.
The right way, yeah. And I feel like that's the messaging that I would like to give to the up and coming generation. You know, I don't floss anything. I did at one point, and I was just like, this is stupid. Like, this is not the messaging that I want to give. And I shit you not, I had like more followers on my individual account than I did the Rudimental account, and I deleted it because every other picture was either me next to a car, house.
We've all been there.
You know what I mean? Like, you go through that moment of like, right, I've got money now, this, that, the other one. I was like, this is fucking stupid. This is not the message I want to give. So I deleted the account. Management were like, don't do it, please. Fuck that. I don't want. That's not the message I want to give. Like, I put a post up or something positive of me training or, you know, impacting on somebody's life or something that would impact on someone's life. And I was like, don't care. Algorithm was only letting them see the
cars, the money,
the glitz and the glam. So I was like, fuck that, I'm just getting rid of that. And I started up a new account, and I said, I'm gonna dedicate this account to inspiring and motivating people the way that I was inspired and motivated to hopefully, I don't care if it changes one person's life. If I get one like on that account or whatever, that's more than enough for me. You know, and I find that so rewarding. So yeah, I feel like we do have an obligation. Not an obligation, we do have a responsibility. Responsibility is the word.
Better word, yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Your account's good though. It's very positive vibes.
Yeah.
I like it.
Mate, I do.
And quite like authentic as well.
Yeah.
There's not like it is what it is. It's not clean cut like you get an agency doing it. It's you.
Definitely.
I quite like that. Let's talk about SAS, Who Dares Wins.
All your boys, eh?
Yeah, my lot. We'll go there after here. They're only around the corner.
Oh,
we'll go and say hello. I'm taking you there. You ain't got a choice.
I've done my time.
So that you obviously won that.
Yep.
What was that whole experience like as an overview?
Unbelievable experience. Mate, I couldn't be a bigger advocate for that type of show. You know, like I mentioned before, I wouldn't fucking go on TV if I didn't really believe in it. It was in line with what I've always wanted to do. I said this on the show, but I was actually going to go to the army after football didn't work out. So when I was in college and I knew that, right, the chance of me becoming a professional footballer at this age is very unlikely, I'm going to sign up. So, you know, like you're in college and these people come in with, like, you got an army
career
people and other types of career, become a mechanic, do this, and I literally took all the papers home. I was like, right, this is what I'm going to do. Like, I love being part of a team. I love putting myself through like horrendous workouts, whatever. I can nail this. This is what I'm going to do. Took it home, told my girlfriend at the time that I'm going to do this. No, in fact, I didn't tell her. I got in a relationship with a girl and I fell in love straight away. Like, I was like, I'm staying for you.
First date.
Like, I fell head over heels with her. And then skip 18 years later, we've got 2 kids together and we're still together, you know. So
you made the right choice.
Yeah, I like to think I did.
Mad that you thought about going in the army though.
Yeah.
Because like where you grew up, like the lifestyle,
it makes no sense.
Well, I suppose, it doesn't make sense in one sense. And then the other way, I think maybe it keep you on track.
That's what, like, the discipline I love.
There's like, I love those boys, mate. I love hanging around with them. I love their mentality. I love they're always pushing you to do better. They're fucking positive.
Yeah.
Everything's about like bettering yourself.
Yeah.
They're incredibly emotionally intelligent and intelligent.
Yeah.
Especially the Special Forces boys.
Yeah.
Like they're not like what you'd normally, you know, my uncle had a kebab shop in Bovington and there's a lot of squaddies there and they're like getting pissed and fighting each other. I'm not saying they're all like that, but they're not like that kind of breed of human. They're different. There's a bit on the show that I wanted to ask you. You're like, I think your knee's fucked and you're carrying something. Still fucked. But like, like you're obviously in a lot of pain at that point. You're like yelping, you know, for a fully grown man to yelp, there's a bit of pain there. Where are you going in your head to carry on? Like, where are you going to get that motivation to finish that last kilometre to get to those cars?
It's funny that you say that these guys are so intelligent in terms of like emotionally and psychologically, because they are. They know how to get in your heads to either throw you down to see if you can pick yourself up or to motivate you to get you up to that hill. And I remember when that first happened, I was like, shit, I think I'm out. I stood around.
What, in your head? That's what you thought?
For 2 minutes, I said, I think I'm done. I think I'm literally done here. I can't walk. You know, I was with, bless her, Nikki Sanderson, and she's not going to carry the weight that I had to carry. So it was like, she ain't going to be able to share the load that I've got. So I've got to do this all myself. So I'm there, I'm like, all right, cool, let's build this boat. Let's go build it, go on the water, and then come back. And then you've got to dismantle the boat and then put this boat on your back. So,
and it's wet and heavy.
And it's wet and heavy. So then I took the first step and bam, the knee's just gone. So again, them doubts are coming into my head. My dad comes into my head. Now that chip on I had on my shoulder, I blamed him for me not making it as a footballer. Wow. You know? And in my head, it was, he must have not felt I was good enough to reach those heights. So that's why he just went around. You know, you just make up these fucking things in your head that probably ain't true, you know? But that's what I've gone with at that particular time. I said, he's going to be fucking watching this and he's going to be like, see, told you. I said, no fucking way is that happening. No way. So when I felt that on my knee, I just geared it towards him. Every time I took a step, geared it towards him. Every time I took a step. But there's only so much you can do with that because psychologically, it becomes boring in your head. Yeah. So you're kind of bouncing against that. So you have to look for the next thing. Where the fuck is the next thing coming? Billy has said, your son's waiting for you at the top of the hill. Bro, I said, it even wells me up now thinking about it. I said, mate, I'll see him there. Like, and that's all I needed. And then as soon as I had my son in my head, I was like, right, cool. Even if I have to crawl myself up there, even if I have to stay here for 24 hours when the cameras are gone or whatnot, I'm going to go. I even said to myself, I'd rather die than quit. Like, I got that extreme with it. And people sitting at home and they're thinking, oh yeah, he must have had a cup of tea before he did that. They must have, like, you know, gave him a respite. They are so authentic on that show to the point where you can't talk to the cameraman, you can't talk to the mic. I remember when I said to Anne, he ripped me a new one. You know, like I said his first name, he ripped me a new one. I was like, I played football with you in Soccer Aid the year before this. What's going on here? Right, okay, this is how it's going to be. But it's so real. And people are probably going to think, oh, you just change shit, man. You won't know it until... And I have to say, like, credit to the producers at the time, because I can only go off the back of that show that I was on. They abided to those rules and you felt like you was in it. And I said to myself, I'd rather die than quit. I got to that top of the mountain and I just burst up into tears. And that's what got me through it. And that's what got me through a lot of it. And the fact that Joey Essex was there and I was like, wait, mate, I'm from East London, Hackney. No way is Joey beating me on this show. No chance.
That's incredibly powerful, though, to hear.
On a serious note, yeah. That's
like, as in your dad at one point, so you've got the anger element that got you through a bit of it. Then you've got the kind of love. Yeah. This kind of like fathering, you being that father figure that got you to the end. Yeah. It is powerful, that. Nice. I always wonder because I go to places, you know, when you're in that hurt locker and you're thinking, fuck this, I'm going to throw the towel in. Yeah. I remember when I ran the marathon lockdown 1. I was not a runner. I was a heavy lad, done a load of bodybuilding. You know what I mean?
Same, yeah.
I started running, couldn't do couch to 5K even, come back moaning with shin splints my missus. And within 6 weeks, we'd done a marathon. Off our own back, not like a joint one. But I remember like the last 10K of that, I kept having to find things to keep myself going.
Oh, mad, didn't it?
And your brain is so clever. Yeah. So you think of something and it keeps you going for literally 3 minutes max. And then your brain switches off again. And you're like, fuck, now what? Who can I hate now? Who's done me wrong ever? Try to generate some...
You've got to generate...
But do you know what? And I say this a lot and it sounds a bit whatever, but love conquers all.
Yeah, I think so.
And if you look at all the power you got, it was from love.
Yeah.
Not from the
100%.
hate.
Exactly. Because I reckon if I carried on that anger towards me old man all the way through, even if I got to the top, and even if I made it to the top, it wouldn't have been rewarding. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have finished off that show. I would have been like, I need to get off here so I can fucking talk to him. Do you know what I mean? Like something like it wouldn't have served no purpose.
I remember chatting to Foxley about this, and I think I spoke to Staz about it as well. I was like, look, boys, I entered the show, actually. I didn't get very far because I know them all, and you obviously not meant to know them all.
Yeah.
I didn't even get through I didn't even get back to me. They just accepted my application, and that was it. Because I thought I'll test myself. But I remember when I first filled the format, I was saying to Staz, I was like, look, mate, it obviously isn't that hard, is it? Like, is it like that you do a cut for an hour and then you stop? And he was like, mate, I'm telling you now, they're going to fucking beast you. It's howling. Yeah. Do not think it's easy. Because I just thought, most people sat on their sofa thinking, they obviously turn the camera on for that 10-minute run, then turn it off and you're all sat around a campfire like eating marshmallows.
It's a joke.
But obviously it isn't like that, is it?
It isn't. No, it isn't. Like I'll give you one example on the show. Jump out a helicopter backwards into the Scottish Sea, wherever we were. Freezing cold.
Yeah.
You got to swim to shore. You got to change your clothes. You're like, we're fucking balls are out, hanging out, head naked everywhere. I'm like, fuck. Got to get some dry clothes on. Then you've got to do a 5K run. And you're still wet, your boots are still wet, and then you get into the square and then you've got to do a bit of a beasting that goes on. You think, all right, look, I'm going to get a bit of a rest. They wake you up straight away. And it's like that constantly. But you're only going to see 5 minutes of that fucking 3-hour journey that we've just done.
Has any of that show shaped how you are now?
100 million percent. 100 million percent. Like the one thing on a comical side, like when like I see anything on TV and it's, SEAL team or SAS, and my son's watching TV, I say, I can do that. SAS trained, isn't
It's light work.
SAS trained.
Light work.
But then on the other note, like mentally, I genuinely believe I'm bulletproof. Like mentally.
You've got some mad mental resilience anyway. It seems everything you do to the end. And obviously I know you talk about the benefits of sport and that to mental health. Is there a reason why you're an advocate of that kind of space? Is there something that's happened in your life from a mental health perspective?
100 million percent. I think it's
that
happened.
you might not have known that you've realised as you got older.
100 million percent. Like, I'll tell you this story, and it's always in the car. I don't know why it's always in the car.
I'm a bit like that.
Yeah.
Car and shower for me are the two like
I don't know what it is.
Thinking times.
Thinking times. And well, let me go back from that car journey. And I was going through a really tough patch with Rudimental. Not the boys, but everything that came with it. So we're touring heavily. We're in that position of, politically with the music where it feels like you haven't got the control you want, And because of that, I kind of opt out. My brain shuts off and I get into this sort of like isolated state, go back to being a kid. And there was a lot of things going on where I just like, oh, fuck this, I don't want to do this no more. I genuinely don't want to do this no more. But I was really, really isolating myself to the point where changed my number, which I do frequently. I change my number like every 6 months. Changed my number, I didn't give it to no one. Didn't go out, stayed at home, had my own lockdown, just constantly talking to myself, like my kids are there, not really listening to what they're saying. Missus is there, not really listening to what she's saying. I'm training, running a 10K, not even hurting me. Go out, run another 10K in the night, like, still not hurting me. Do some weights, numb, like proper numb. This is how fucking powerful the mind is. And I remember going through that period for a good 4 months, just like that, monotonous, not talking to no one. When people would talk to me, I'll snap. Wouldn't turn up to meetings, just out of the game. And I remember driving home. I haven't cried once. I'm not a crier. I'm not a big crier. I'm sensitive, but I'm not a big crier. Driving home and I get off the motorway. It takes about 6 minutes from the motorway to get to my house. Not listening to no music, nothing. Mind's wandering. Start crying.
Randomly.
Random. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Have you ever been told off by your parents so much you go bury your head in the pillow and you feel like you can't...
Yeah.
3 minutes in, I'm up, like I can't breathe.
Hyperventilating.
Hyperventilating, crying. Like, fuck, it looks ugly. Like, snot coming out my nose and everything.
Proper.
At it. I'm just like, so I'm like, what the fuck is this? Trying to get myself together. 2 minutes from my house now. It started all over again. So I'm on my drive and it's mad because before I started crying, I don't know if you've seen that meme. How does it go? I'd rather
be crying in a Lamborghini than in a Fiat or something. It's about having
like
money
that.
and success.
And I'm looking around, I got Rolls Royce there, I got this there, and I'm in my Merc, I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? I'm crying, that meme is me.
Yeah.
And it was then, at that point, not understanding why that was happening to me, although I've been this way. You remember, I've been this way for 4 months, and I haven't acknowledged I've been this way, but that moment there has made me acknowledge, fuck, have I been this distant? Have I been that? I've had to open up. And having the circle that I have, literally I could count on 2 hands how many friends real friends I've got. The Rudy boys come knocking on my door. Now, I was like, how do they get into my house? Like, they have to get over a gate and then they knock on my door. I was like, the fuck is this? I'm sitting in my house in the dark the day after this has happened. So I don't know if my missus has looked from the window and just seen me sitting in my car just fucking trying to sort myself out. I've come in the house and, you know, your eyes are red.
Puffy.
You're like, you can't hide it. Like, my son's asking, what's wrong, Dad? What's wrong, Dad? What's wrong, Dad? What's wrong? I'm like, no, I'm all good. I'm good. Missus like, what's going on? Like, I've not said nothing. Next day, knock on the door. It's the boys. The boys there. They said, we'll come to check on you, man.
Wow.
And I've never cried in front of Kezi and my boy Mikey. We grew up on the same street. Ever. So they're talking to me. It's like, what's going on, man? Like, whatever you need, whatever you want, like, we get through this. If you don't want to do Rudy no more, like, look, we'll sort it out. We'll work it out. And they're talking. I'm not hearing nothing they're saying. Burst into tears again. That same feeling that I was in the car, like, just started flooding out of me again. And then we started talking about it and talking about our feelings. And they started telling me, like, bro, I've been through something like that as well. And all of a sudden, like, this big weight that I've been carrying on my shoulder for the last 4 months, it started to loosen up. And we start bantering about a bit of whatever it is we're going through. And you start to realize, like, wait a minute, it's not just me. I've been selfish. Sorry, bro. How have you been? Like, do you know what I mean? And it's going back and forth. And then after that, we did a bit of training as well. And we did a bit of training. Now the training was actually starting to fucking hurt. Like, do you know, it's hurting. I'm starting to get a bit of feel back.
Yeah.
But after the training, I started feeling a bit more positive. And that's where, like, having that friendship group, that support network around you, and like fitness having such a massive impact, both negatively and positively, on me. And I decided to use the positive side going forward. Hence why I made the brand. Hence why I have an app where, like, there's a select few on there that I train with or whatnot, and it's open to the public. Because I want people to feel that. And I know there's people going through what I went through. And you've got to think, if you don't know you're going through it, how many times did you go through it?
Yeah, that's true.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
How many times did you go through it? Like, you must have been through it. You must have been like this before. You just didn't know.
If you've never done it, you've never recognised it, if you've never felt it.
This is it. So I say, like, that moment in my car kind of helped acknowledge it, although I didn't actively go out and get the help, which it made me think, you know what? If I ever feel like that, I'm actively going to get the help, because it actually made me feel better.
Well, you're fortunate. It's a very powerful story. Thanks for sharing it. But you're fortunate that your boys, whether your missus rung them or they clocked a change in you, were there. Because actually, the first step, I guess, as we're always trained, is to talk.
Yeah.
You weren't talking to no one. You isolated yourself.
Isolated, yeah.
No man is an island.
Trust.
The boys come, you opened up, the weight comes off your shoulders, because you realise, actually, fucking hell, this isn't just me.
Yeah.
All the boys are feeling it.
Yeah.
Everyone's been through this.
No, definitely. And that's why I go back to my social media and I think, like, mate, if one person, like, I get hundreds of DMs saying, mate, what you said there was, like, really had an impact on me. Like, I love those. And then I get the other DM where it's like, oh, your car's sick, bro. Like, what's that? I was like,
Yeah.
I want to have the other impact because those things aren't fucking real. They're not real.
And it's what you take in, right? Like we talk about TikTok. I spend quite a bit of time on TikTok, but what I've clocked with TikTok,
right? Teach me because I don't.
Because this is what I do. Okay, so I used to go on there aimlessly and watch random fucking shit. Cat falling off a fridge. You know, like some of them funny ones are good, but some of them are mindless, like the dance things and that. They're all cool. So what I've done is now I only follow the educational stuff.
Yeah.
So when you click at the top where it says for you or following, if you go on for you, it just the algorithm fucks with your head. If you go on following, then I get snippets of podcasts. It becomes extremely educational.
Sick.
I spend half an hour on it in the evening and I watch the best bits of certain podcasts.
Yeah.
And it's like a bit more educational. If I'm trying to use it correctly, because you can be like YouTube, right? You go on a YouTube rabbit hole, you're there for 3 hours.
Wait, I saw something on Insta the other day actually. And you might not put this in. I don't know how factual this is, but you know, you just see something, you're like, well, that kind of makes sense. They were saying that in Asia, the algorithm for TikTok and their equivalent to Instagram and Facebook is surrounded by positive thoughts of aspiring people.
Okay.
So it could be a young person in the army and what they've achieved. It could be a musician. And that's all they filter that. That's all they're looking at.
That's all they show.
That's all they show. Whereas in the Western world, we see people...
I've seen the same video you're on about.
Have you? Yeah. So we
promote the negative.
We promote the negative.
The scaremongering, the propaganda.
The propaganda. So we're constantly like on edge and not being able to think for ourselves and whatnot. Like I said, I don't know if that's factual, but it makes a hell of a lot of fucking sense.
It does make sense.
Do you know what I mean? And this is mad.
TikTok.
Talk to me.
What do you think it's doing to the music industry? Do you use it? The Rudimental do you use it?
Yeah, the Rudimental and sort of like the team that help us with social media. I mean, you have to have a team. Like when you're at this age and you struggle to conform to the evolution of social media, which I feel like out of three of us, I'm probably the best at it.
Yep.
But we're still not clued up. You kind of need a young team around you to be like, this is what's happening. And I love anything that evolves. Yeah, a lot of people will probably be like, "Why the fuck is TikTok like? It's taking over the music." I'm like, it's another way of people accessing your music. Adapt with it or be left behind.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And that's what I feel like with TikTok. You know, it's a tool for us as musicians and people that want people to hear our music, and it's another listening platform for the masses. Like when I was growing up, you had to have £7 to get two songs on one vinyl. Like that wasn't attainable. That was fucking ridiculous. I went through weeks.
Fucking expensive,
mate. I went through weeks at school hustling, letting
Locksmith.
people in rooms to eat because I was spending all my lunch. I used to get £20 a week from my mum.
Yeah.
And I used straight to the record store and buy records, and that was eating up within one day. So how was I eating for the rest of the day? I couldn't keep asking my mum for money. But now you look at the evolution of that to how people are accessing music. Why the hell not?
Yeah. $9.99 a month or whatever Spotify is.
Yeah, like if you don't want to do that, you listen to music through TikTok,
YouTube,
and whatnot. You know, there's so many ways you can access music. I think instead of us complaining about that, how can we make it more accessible financially for the musicians to earn better off it?
Yeah.
You know, like not everyone's in a fortunate position like Rudimental where we've got so many territories that we can go out to. Some people actually rely on just the music. So how can we make it better for those people? That would be my one argument.
I heard once that you turned your tour bus into a gym. Did you?
We turn our tour buses into a lot of things. We turn our tour bus into a studio, strip club. No, I'm joking. No, I've turned it into a gym because when you're on the road, sometimes when you're in the arse end of like Europe, you're not going to have access to a gym. You know,
you don't stay in hotels and that, do you? You're just touring on the bus.
Sometimes it depends what it is. It depends on the routing. You know, like you could stay in a hotel at certain points, but most of the time you're on a bus. So you've got to adapt. And like I said, training has such a positive impact for me. So turning the bunks into dips and doing pull-ups and whatnot, it starts getting a bit Rocky Balboa on there, but it helps.
When we went into lockdown 1, our nightclub Halos inside of a church.
Yeah.
So we started using that as a gym.
Yeah.
Probably against the regulations and rules. You weren't going to leave your house. But me and the boys would sneak down there.
Perfect.
And we'd use the truss as a pull-up bar. We'd use the barriers that you do this thing with for dips.
That's training, man.
Like a TRX hanging off the pillar.
Oh, TRXs are the ones.
Amazing, aren't they? Considering
when you're touring, you have to pack that because it's so versatile in what you can do.
What's next for you, bro? Any TV, music?
Yeah.
What's next?
You know what? I think 2023, it's important that, I was saying this to you earlier, it's important that I do the things that I enjoy. First and foremost, that has got to be the base of what I do. Mm-hmm. I'm the kind of person that likes to put my hands in so many pies and see if I can make certain things work, But then sometimes it becomes overwhelming and you're like, fuck, why did I do this? Why? But I'm going to do things that I enjoy. I enjoy working out. So how can I engage more people to come work out with me to make it public? I'm not trying to be the next Joe Wicks, but I just want to impact people positively. And I know I can do through fitness, music, make more music, put out more music and try and discover the next big talent, because that's something historically Rudimental has always done and still doing to this day. And then what makes the world go round? Money. How can we make more money but not feel like you're sacrificing too much? Because you are going to sacrifice if you want to make money. Yeah. And people might be like, make money, it's not all about money. Everyone that says that, I always say, you know what, it actually is. If I want to take the kids on holiday, I've got to pay for it. If my kid wants to play football on his football team, I've got to pay for it. So it all evolves around money, but it's the way that you kind of your outlook on money. Like if it starts devouring you and you become the devil over it, and it's a whole different ballgame. But then I think about it. I think, how can I make money doing things that I enjoy? And that's the path I'm on right now.
I guess it's making the money for the right reasons as well, isn't it? You're not saying I want to make money and buy a Louis Vuitton belt. You're saying I want to make money.
I'm saying make money for whatever you want.
Yeah.
If you want the Louis Vuitton belt, buy it. If that's whatever you want, man. Life's too short. If that's what you really want, then do it. You'll find out that it's not, because it's just materialistic. But for what you want, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think who was I saying this the other day? I don't spend money on much. Yeah, I'm not really a jewelry guy. The cars, I'm down to one car now. Mm-hmm. So what's my equivalent to all those things? Geeky techie shit.
Yeah.
I can't walk through an airport without seeing something. Oh, is that a new laptop? Oh my God. Oh, I need that. I need it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So if you think that's what you really want, go out and do it. You'll find out. It's all about the journey, man. You'll find out that's not what you really want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I ain't gonna try and say to someone, why are you buying Louis Vuitton, this, that, and the other? Why are you buying it? Cause I see some sick jumpers, I'm like, raw, that's sick. I look at the prices and I'm like, I'm gonna go buy a new pair of headphones. That's the kind of person I am. That doesn't entertain me like that.
I think we've all got to go through those stages, haven't we, of buying everything or wanting everything and trying what works for us, what doesn't, what makes us feel happy, what doesn't. Because I think as the time goes on, as you get older, your wants and needs change as well. 100%. If I look at what I felt success was a decade ago to what I feel it is now, success, the social construct of success.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, or what I actually need, the bare bottom things I need to survive, to live. It's not a lot.
No, it's not.
It's not a lot. Really, and we get overwhelmed. Something goes wrong. You lose a bit of money. One of your businesses fail. Something happens. And I've been through a bit recently last year. And you think the whole world's crashing down
on you.
And then you take a minute to get some perspective on it. You go out. You go for a walk. You think about it. Well, am I eating? Yes. Yeah. Have I got a house? Yes. Yeah. Is anyone trying to kill me? No.
Not that I know of, but
not that I know of. What else is there really to want?
You know, who's so good at that. And I'm just like, I wish I had that.
Who?
Temperament. It's Kezzy.
Really?
Kezzy from the band. Although I've been seeing him stunting some mad clothing of late. Oh, mad clothing of late. Like, he's stunting harder than I do. But, like, he don't want for nothing. He'll happily, for the rest of his life, wake up, go studio, and that's
content.
Content. But he's not. But he is. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes we might go Ibiza, and he lets loose, and it's like, oh, we're not lining up for this. We're going to walk that. That's him. That is the extreme of him not being content kind of thing. But every other, I'm just like, damn, man. Like, I need to know that I'm going to studio, we're making this amount of, or whatever. Like, that's me. That becomes one part of my motivation other than creatively being fulfilled. But yeah, he just does it so well. And I'm just like, damn, man.
Some people have got it, haven't they?
Yeah. So well. Even when he used to play football, his temperament was so good. I used to get pissed off, like, why are you so calm?
My missus has said that to me a few times, that some of the people at work are the same, like, so-and-so said this, and there's like no reaction from me, and they'll be like, how'd you stay so calm? And I'm like, well, what difference is it?
Does it make, yeah.
If I pick up this glass and throw it and smash it, scream and shout and flip the table, does it change what's happened? No. I just get more upset.
Yep.
Everyone around me gets a bit upset. I just go home and think about it, sleep on it,
and we'll work it out.
Come back tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm the same when it comes to things like that. But yeah, it's
Bro,
a good one.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
Appreciate it, mate.
mad love. I'm glad we didn't do all that.
We'll do head, rock, paper, scissors.
No, thanks
My
for having me
grandma
on,
used to do that. The cabbage, like that. I'd be like, Grandma, come on. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you.
Bless, man. Wicked.